The president's defense team making its case this morning following 3 days of arguments by the Democratic House managers. Right now, we have both Democratic and Republican reaction for you. Let's bring in first Quinter, former chief counsel to Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein, also former assistant attorney general in Maryland. So, Mr. Quinter, what stands out for you from what you heard this morning?
Well, I'm glad that Chad highlighted the portions that he did, because I think the part that really stood out for me was Mr. Purpora's argument that we had not heard from people who had spoken directly to President Trump. We were basically hearing from mid-level people in the administration. And I think that really demonstrates the need to bring those people in who did speak directly to President Trump. That's Mick Mulvaney, John Bolton. Bring in witnesses who haven't appeared before. When you have mid-level people, they're not going to be talking, for the most part, directly to the president. It's those upper-level people, Mick Mulvaney, John Bolton, who did speak directly to Donald Trump. And let's hear what he did have to say.
Or isn't
let both sides ask their questions.
Don't you think Ambassador Sondland, they had phone calls with the president that he's the top person?
He is a top person. Certainly, the Secretary of State and National Security Advisor are above a specific ambassador. But Ambassador Sondland's testimony did support the House manager's case that all the president cares about was the investigations of the Bidens, and we heard that, from a number of different angles.
Yeah, let's listen to both those sound bites you just referred to. Purpora talking about that. First, exactly what you just said about no witnesses having direct evidence. Then we'll listen to Sondland, what he testified to. Let's go to the first sound bite in terms of what Mr. Purpora said regarding the fact that there's no direct witness.
Most of the Democrats' witnesses have never spoken to the president at all, let alone about Ukraine security assistance. The two people in the House record who asked President Trump about whether there was any linkage between security assistance and investigations were told in no uncertain terms that there's no connection between the two. When Ambassador of the European Union Gordon Sondland asked the president in approximately the September 9 timeframe, the president told him, I want nothing, I want nothing, I want no quid pro quo.
That was my belief. That was my presumption, yeah.
Is that right?
I said I presume that might have to be done in order to get the aid released. It was a presumption. I've been very clear as to when I was presuming, and I was presuming on the aid. It would be pure, guesswork on my part, speculation. I don't know. That was the problem, Mr. Goldman. No one told me directly that the aid was tied to anything. I was presuming it was.
Well, didn't show you any of the.
All right, we're hearing a little bit more of Mr. Quinter. I mean, there's the argument from the Republicans that there's no direct evidence. What do you think is going to happen? Will 4 senators, do you think, fold, basically, and try to support witnesses?
I think that really remains to be seen. It's a developing process. I actually think that Mr. Purpora's argument today was helpful for the Democrats in building their case for witnesses. So as the Republicans say more things, they could further demonstrate, well, we need to have witnesses. We need to have evidence. You can't criticize the House managers for not having the evidence and then refuse to produce the evidence.
What do you think will happen on Monday?
Well, I think we'll have a lot of arguments about process, a lot of assertions that President Trump didn't get his fair process in the House, attacks on the House managers, particularly attacks on Congressman Schiff, who's been their most effective advocate. And I think it'll be a lot of talking about things other than what Donald Trump did with regard to Ukraine.
And finally, quickly, one of those things, Hunter Biden, we are told, or the lawyers said that they're going to bring that up on Monday, certainly raise that issue.
Well, of course, that wouldn't surprise me. I think they're looking for anything to distract from the actions of President Trump himself.
Quinter, who is from the Democratic side of the aisle and has a lot of experience in Washington on this. Mr. Quinter, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate it.
Of course.